So thank you all for coming here, continuing our discussion from this wonderful literature of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a very rare opportunity we all have that we have some interest or appreciation to this beautiful text. A little bit of attraction to these names and the messages, the wonderful stories which come in the Srimad Bhagavatam can relieve once for all the entire material fatigue we have been carrying, not just in one life, since many lifetimes. So, and many times we also do realize we don't value it from a monetary sense or something, but once you have led your life to a certain extent, as we were discussing yesterday, it does bring some sense of fatigue. And these prayers, these beautiful pastimes, how each one of them have, through the struggles of their lives, through the struggles of their own mind and senses, their own weaknesses, how they have reached to the supreme perfection. It gives so much solace to the heart that there is some hope. So this story is something like that, continuing from last 2 days. Gajendra was King Indradumna in his past life, who was cursed by Agastya Rishi because he did not receive Agastya Rishi well. And it is a tradition, it has always been the tradition that there must be a basic sense of human etiquette which everyone must have. So being the king at that point of time, king in the Bhagavad Gita is referred, Krishna himself says, amongst the men I am the monarch, I am the king. King is considered God, just like we consider Guru, Deva, Matru Deva, Pitru Deva, right? We consider them as levels of authority. King is also considered to be a state God from a state authority point of view, like a Dev for the state. That is how the society and order would go. And therefore, one of the duties of the king was to know how to deal with or behave with those who carry dharma, how they should be represented, and so on. So we do hear about rishis like Durvasa, Agastya, who had a little bit of short temper. So why I say little bit, actually it was not little bit. The reason being is, their temper ultimately would lead to the ultimate perfection of one on whom the temper has been cast upon. In our sense, when we get angry with someone, first of all, we destroy ourselves. And that person gets destroyed, the relationship gets destroyed. All things go wrong when we lose our temper. And we regret. These rishis, they never had regret over their temper. That is interesting. Means they have so much confidence that my temper is justified. If I am getting angry, it is only going to do welfare. From what welfare is happening right now, after my anger, there will only be better welfare. So it was not that like sometimes we get angry and we say, actually I apologize, I didn't mean it. And if the other person says, okay, if you apologize, I'll repeat. No, then we'll again get angry. Because our mind and senses are not in control. It's like when rishis get angry, it is slightly different. So sometimes people do tell us, what is the point doing so much austerity and getting angry and upset? Of course, it does drain one's tapasya. But many times when the rishis would also curse and get angry, it also drains your tapasya. 10,000 years of tapasya gets drained by one moment of anger. Vishwamitra fell down 3 times. 10,000 years of tapasya, Indra sent Ramba, fell down. Why he got upset? I am meditating in a remote location of the world in the forest mountains. And you are deliberately targeting me. Not that she came in a, of course she came in a form which was quite sensual and appealing. But Vishwamitra did not even open his eyes. But just that khanak, the payal and bangles, he understood that this mischief, who comes in the remote mountain? So he understood that Indra has sent someone. Otherwise not possible. So he would curse the person. She would beg, Bare Baba, I'm not at fault. I'm just a carrier. But he would curse. But then he realized that in that curses he lost some abilities. So it is not that when Rishi, even though the curse has a positive purpose, it does have some impact. Ultimately it works for the benefit of one who receives. But why it works? Because there is some energy of your tapasya and your goodness which has got delivered to that person. That's the whole idea. You are delivering power in some manner. But that is for hitakar. So we see also an incident in Shamika Rishi and Parikshit. He was a king. He felt that I am thirsty and what is this person doing like this? He's supposed to serve me. He got used to being served as a king and never tolerate inconvenience of any manner. So by that moment where he was very restless and thirsty, he just tried to disturb the meditation of Shamika Rishi. He did not curse him. But his son, he felt offended that the king does not know how to honor sage. So the son cursed him that you will die in 7 days. What a curse. Such a confidence that you will die. What did that curse lead to? That curse became the reason for Srimad Bhagavatam to take place. So when rishis, when they get upset and they curse, ultimately it's going to be good only. Narad Muni cursed Nalakuver and Manigriv. Ultimately that became the reason of this wonderful Damodar Ashtakam which we are singing. So some of you may not know the stories, but I am just giving a gist of this. To justify that one should not see the curses of the rishis as a stigma on their personality, but it should be seen as a divine part of something must be there like that. Because they have nothing to do, they have nothing to achieve from this world. They don't want anything of this world. Their physical existence is only meant to get out of this place, and whatever, while they are alive, they try to do good to others, trying to get them into topics or discussions beyond their ethereal plane, their mundane plane. So similarly, Indradyumna got cursed by Agastya, who felt that he should have been honored properly. That he did not, he's behaving like a dull animal. So he said, because you are behaving like a dull animal, you are not lively in your discharge of your duties, why do you need a king's body? King is supposed to be as a servant of the state, right? In some sense. So he cursed him. May you become an elephant. Indradyum at that time, because he was also a devotee of the Lord, always in the mood of trying to understand him, he felt that I have not intentionally done something wrong, but maybe this is the desire or the plan of the Lord to accelerate my process to attain him. So very gracefully, just like Parikshit Maharaj accepted, like that Indradyumna Maharaj also accepted that curse. And then next life he becomes this elephant. Dull within the limited movements, dull with the body, but dull with the mind. Elephant generally has a sharp mind, but only from an emotional sense, but not like a mind which is invasive and conquering. Like lion has a really powerful mind as such. Elephant is very strong than the lion, but it does not have that mind. Lion is, even our scriptures, it's a conqueror. Lion has the feeling that I own the jungle, but he does not like to prove it. That is interesting. There are many animals who try to prove that they are boss. Lion has that attitude that I don't need to prove because why should I prove? Who are you? If I try to prove, nobody will exist. So So that's very interesting. Elephant is not like that. Very conservative in his own family. That is what is called as dull. The Bhagavatam mentions the word Kripana many times. Even in this chapter it comes, Kripana. May you become a dull like an elephant and Kripana, a miser, because you are behaving, in the human form you are behaving miserly. Now what is miserliness? Who is called as a miser? Who is a miser? कंजूस. तो किसको कंजूस बोलते हैं आप?
One who has the capability but doesn't offer himself.
पैसा है लेकिन देता नहीं. कंजूस. कोई अंग्रेज सुनेगा तो बोलेगा जूस कौन सा जूस? कुछ तो मिल रहा है. कुछ कंजूस मतलब कुछ नहीं मिलेगा. जूस ही नहीं मिलेगा. एक ड्रॉप नहीं छोड़ेगा वो. Anyways. So Kripana in our scriptures refers to miserliness as a human being. What is the true wealth of a human being? What is the true power a human being has? It is not that the power of making aeroplanes or ships or cars. That's not the true power. We discussed. What is the true power of a human being? The sheer ability to inquire about the truth, to know about the truth. अपने से परे कुछ जानना और समझना, ये इच्छा रखना किसी भी रूप में, that only is the true ability. No other species has this ability. Please mind it very carefully. I'm repeating again. A dog will never desire, how I wish like a cat, how I wish I had a car, how I wish I had a home. No, fishes in your fish tank you can put for 20, 30 years. Never once they feel, how I wish I was not in the water and also moving. What's there upstairs in that room? It will never desire. You put a human being any place, human being thinks, how much be in the aquarium? I want to also swim. I want to fly. Right? As a species, you want to go beyond the limitations of yourself. So that basically is the core ability. With that ability, you can also reach to the supreme destination. You can reach to the supreme perfection. You can reach God. That tendency has that potency. That is called as your core ability. Now, having that core ability, if you do not, that's your wealth. Now, if I have wealth of money, I have to use it. If I have a wealth of consciousness and understanding as a human being, I have to use it in that direction. And if I don't use it that way, then what am I called? Kripana. Miser, कंजूस. इस गधे मूर्ख को इतनी बुद्धि दी और जानवर की तरह बिहेव कर रहा है. तो प्रकृति बोलेगी, ये शरीर क्यों दिया? Why did you give him such a beautiful car or a vehicle which he does not know how to use properly? He does not know how to respect the roads, the rules, the regulations, the convenience. Might as well let him walk. Take away the car. Correct? When the Prakriti gives a human form of life and you behave like a Kripana, Prakriti judges you like that. His activities don't suit for humans. Let us give him out of compassion, not out of punishment. Please don't think that. Prakriti by nature is mother. All she thinks is, the poor fellow, he's just behaving like a dog. Let us give him a dog body. Why should he behave like a dog as a human being? Right? Why should he behave like an elephant? If your desires are limited to a particular species kind of thinking, then might as well take that body. You look honorable that way. You look honorable. These days, means are there people online?
No.
Can you pause for a few seconds? Similarly, when our psychological disposition or behavior in life is not suitable for the very purpose for which you have got human form, that ability is taken away. Why? To facilitate you. Okay, get over this. When you have a certain desire, अगर किसी को बहुत इच्छा होती है, मुझे ऐसा करना है, ऐसा करना है. That itch is so strong that unless it is fulfilled, you cannot get over it. Sometimes you need to fulfill some part of your material desires in some ways. And after some fulfillment, reasonable fulfillment within the legal and dharmic domain, then we get over it. Okay, now I've seen what it is all about. Let me get over it. So Prakriti does accommodate that. It gives that much opportunity. We see it as a fall down. Sometimes scriptures say you will fall down from human form of life. From Prakriti it is just, my child cannot handle this, let me give this. And then slowly from there you learn those qualities again, then come back to human being. And that is why as a human being you should know, by default we have all the animalistic propensities. Because we have come from all species. Animal does not have human propensities. Human has all the animal propensities, and that is why we can lord over other species. That is why we have greater intelligence, because we have gone and been through all of that in the subconscious intelligence. Basic thing. So Indradyumna, a great king, he accepts this position, but as soon as he becomes an elephant, all the dynamics of the elephant take place. He has a similar kind of affection. Now that king who has beautiful queens, beautiful sons and daughters, and he considers that this only is my family, within few years, with the change of the body, he has the same kind of intense affection and love for the elephants. So this is also something as a nature for all of us. हमको जब किसी व्यक्ति के प्रति मोह होता है, कल मैं चर्चा कर रहा था ना, इसके बिना मैं जी नहीं सकता. My heart pounds and I feel a divine mystical connection. Means it is true. I'm not denying that emotion, but the emotion is true, the foundation is false. Your emotion of love and affection for a particular thing is true. That emotion is true. But thinking that you are only going to be fascinated or enamored by that individual entity, that is false. That is only because you are a human being, you are like that. If you were a dog, you will fall for someone. If you are an elephant, for a she-elephant. Whichever species you are, you will love your own offsprings, like a tortoise, an insect, a fish. क्या प्रेम होता है बच्चे को जब मछली भी देती है. It is so amazing to see this love and affection of all the different species, the motherly affection. But now in his entire life he has forgotten what has happened to him, because he was cursed to be a miser, Kripana. When the time comes when the crocodile has caught his feet, now this crocodile was King Hu. So this King Hu was one time enjoying water sports. He was a very, very mischievous king. He was enjoying water sports in one of the ponds at one particular place. And sage Devala, you have heard about Asit Vyas Deval? So sage Deval was doing some meditation there in those same waters, offering some prayers. So who thought that let me do mischief. So just like people do mischief, we just get underwater, pull each other's leg. He pulled Deval's leg. One thing I must tell you, even if you feel that some sadhu is fake, these days there are many, but if somebody, forget about sadhu, anybody who is sitting doing meditation or thinking, it is not a good idea to mock them. If it is a sadhu, then all the more. Why? Because I also realize myself, typically practicing sadhus, rishis, munis, they are always struggling against their mind and senses. For any little urge they come, they have to kill those emotions. They have to, because you cannot get sucked away. You have to deny some things, and intellectually you have to rise over your desires. There's a lot of struggle which sadhus always continue, and the more deeper and higher you go, the more it is. And therefore they have no patience for nonsense. That is the main point. जो एकदम तीव्र इंटेंस है, they are always peaceful. But if आपने छेड़ा तो उनको लगता है पूरा संसार बचा है तुम्हारे खेलने के लिए, मेरे पास ही क्यों आया? नहीं कि नहीं? You have all gone, मैं क्यों मिला? Therefore they curse. You're behaving like this, जा अभी तू गया. तो कभी नहीं करना चाहिए. अगर आपको डाउट भी है ना तो बेनिफिट ऑफ डाउट साधु को दे दो, क्योंकि गलती से सही हो गया. So it is like that. Anyways, so he curses, he pulls Deval's leg. Similar situation also comes in the 10th canto, where Krishna's own sons, there was a sage, a rishi who was known to be mystical, that if you ask him any question, he'll give an answer. So these children, out of mischief, they decided to mock him, mock his predictive abilities. So one of the sons of Krishna, he puts a ball under his belly, dresses up like a woman, and goes to that sadhu and says, Maharaj, please tell what will come out of my womb. मतलब बेटा होगा या बेटी. He's dressed as a girl just to mock this sadhu, and with a घूंघट, तो वो भी दिख नहीं रहा है क्या है. That sadhu said, whatever will come out will destroy all of you. Because he knew that these people are mocking my abilities. So they immediately found out that it was just a ball. So they went and told in their kingdom, ऐसा ऐसा हो गया. So the rishi, they told you, pulverize this ball into pieces. नहीं तो ये पता नहीं क्या हो जाएगा इसका. ऋषि ने बोला है कुछ भी हो जाएगा. And still that ball, that metal lump which was broken into pieces, then finally became the arrow which shot Krishna and became the reason for Krishna's departure, and also the death of all his sons. That also episode comes in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Point I am trying to say is, don't mock somebody's spiritual practices. That's very important. So that was done. He got cursed because you are trying to pull the leg underwater. This is tendency of crocodile. So चुपके से आके पीछे से, may you be a crocodile. Suddenly the whoo, he realized कि हाय क्या हो गया. So then he immediately consciously he falls at his feet, that I would like to fall at your feet, that I made a mistake, please help me, what should I do? And I repent, I regret. So the rishi realized that, okay, jo bhi hua theek hai. He said, no problem, this curse has been uttered by me, but I also bless you that Vishnu will take care of it. What a confidence, right? In your sadhana. Vishnu will take care of it. So Vishnu has now these two proposals which has come more or less from different parts but similar time. Some two people cursed by rishis in different contexts. एक तपस्या कर रहा था और एक मस्ती कर रहा था. So one became an elephant. Now this is a mandate which Vishnu has on him. Sometimes his own devotees, not every devotee is perfect in their journey, right? But in those who are very sincerely doing sadhana practices, sometimes when they utter some things, then it becomes like an obligation which he feels that I must somehow fulfill it. So in the Mahabharata also a similar episode comes. Yudhishthir takes a vow, I will never speak a lie. Remember? Bhim also has taken a vow, because he's a Gadadhar, I will never hit below the waist. Arjun takes a vow that if before sunset this thing does not happen, if Jayadratha or someone is not killed, I will immolate myself. So Krishna gets irritated one evening. He says, and then there is Bhishma who has taken a vow. I will not rule the kingdom. So Krishna gets irritated and tells this to the Pandavas. What do you guys think of yourself? Ki, you are learning all the Dharma Shastras and arbitrarily taking vows. Your entire focus should be serving Dharma. But here Bhishma is taking this vow, Yudhishthira is taking this vow, you are taking that vow. And I have taken a vow to establish Dharma. So he literally says, it is such a difficult thing to manage with all of this. You all should have a sense of speaking. मुझे ही संभालना पड़ता है क्योंकि भक्तों की वाणी तो संभालनी पड़ेगी. अभी भीष्म को भी रिस्पेक्ट करना पड़ेगा. भीष्म ने भी वाव ले लिया, मैं इनके सामने किसी महिला या जो महिला जैसा दिखता है या चाल चलन होगा, मैं शस्त्र नहीं उठाऊंगा. हर कोई अपने अपने वाव लेके बैठा है. So it's a very important point also to learn. Although we are conditioned, we are this, Krishna somehow, based on your sincerity, depending on your sincerity, he tries to accommodate that. But it's an inconvenience. So unnecessary, don't curse or don't, of course I don't believe that, you should not believe that your curses will work. That's a false ego. Unless your life is burning with tapasya. But at the same time, we should not behave that even an ordinary person curses us. We should at least try our best that we don't do that. So, now these two personalities come. Vishnu thinks that let me combine them, and then he enacts this into a beautiful pastime. So, when Gajendra's leg is caught, now 1,000 years of battle has taken place and he is tired. He realizes now I am going to be dead. And at that moment, what he remembers is, see, very nice, Badarayani Ruvacha, Shukdev Goswami says, Evam vyavasito buddhya samadhaya manoridi jajapa paramam japyam prak janmani anushikshitam. Evam vyavasitaya buddhyaya. At that moment, just a few moments before his departure, Gajendra's buddhi, vyavasthitaha, it becomes situated, vyavasito, where in the deepest core of his consciousness, and jajapa, paramam japyam. What japa, parama japyam means the japa of the chanting of the great names of the Lord. Anushikshitam. He remembers all the beautiful chants which he would do unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his Prag Janmani. Prag means earlier. Prag Janmani Anushikshitam. Whatever he had learned, those spiritual things, suddenly he started remembering. And in that remembrance, he started chanting those names. And he starts glorifying. So very extensively all these prayers are given then further. Gajendra uvacha om namo bhagavate tasmai yate chatchidatmakam purushadi vijaya pareshaya vidhimahi. And the whole chapter is all about Gajendra's prayer. We are not going to chant all of those prayers, but the essential, some of the words we'll discuss. Interesting thing is, Gajendra remembers his past life. This is the most beautiful and the touching aspect of the Supreme Truth. That whatever little things we do in spirituality, please do not consider it an ordinary task. Someone who is in the body of elephant is remembering Prag Janmani Anushikshitam Jajapya Paramajap. He starts chanting those verses exactly. In our own temple in Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Mandir, at least 2 circumstances we have come across where not exactly in this manner, but similar to this, where devotees who have served relatively 20, 30 years of their life, they met with some kind of accident, and because of that, they fell down and lost all their memory. One person out of some kind of sickness eventually lost memory. But in that situation, all they remembered was the Hare Krishna mantra. They remembered Krishna, like Radha Gopinath deity they remember. They remember the Hare Krishna mantra. They remember Prabhupada. And no one else. They forgot their own wife, children. So many weeks had gone them to remind. Do you remember this photograph, this? And he's just looking that. Because you don't relate from the heart. You can see an evidence that, okay, that something is there, but you cannot see from the heart at all. Or you cannot connect with the heart. We were so amazed to see such a phenomena that a person remembers this. One of my very close friend, his father is undergoing dementia right now. So every day morning he wakes up, and the first 30-40 minutes of the morning is to actually remind him, because he suddenly feels, where I am, who am I, who are these people, why am I here? Every day. So the family members have to spend significant amount of time every day in the morning once he wakes up. See, look at these photographs, we are this, we are there. All he remembers is he has Jagannath like this at the house. He remembers Jagannath and he remembers Hare Krishna mantra. Living example right now. All the three of them are like that. They don't remember anything else, but they remember deity. We have been chanting and speaking these verses, but probably my faith also never increased so much. But when such situations happen, I really felt it so amazing, such an assuring thing. And mind you, those devotees who are going through this situation right now, Mike needs a line. Yeah, it's okay. So those devotees, I think you can hear.
Yeah.
So those devotees who are going through this situation right now, they are not someone whom we have seen to have done great amount of service, great amount of tapasya, nothing at all. Very ordinary devotees. I'm not judging that way, all devotees are great, but externally, sometimes people is doing lot of preaching and always done services for every Saturday, Sunday, 10 hours, nothing like that. Just elderly personalities would come, sit in the lecture in one corner, give a smile, just say hi, hello to everyone, do little bit of service. So it was very reassuring to all of us. So this verse, which comes here, Jajapa paramam japyam prag janmani anushikshitam. Because we have not gone through such a situation, probably we may not understand this. But just imagine for a person who suddenly as an elephant remembers that, oh, I was not this at all. I was in my beautiful journey. What a sense of relief that person must be going through. What an experience. What an assurance that the Lord remembered me. Otherwise it is not possible. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Mattaha smrutir, jnanam and apohanam. From me comes knowledge and remembrance, both. When we behave in very materialistic ways, very offensive ways, in ways which is not suitable, Krishna takes away the remembrance from the heart that we are a spirit soul. We become then more and more materialistic. And then even if someone tells, Matirna Krishna parato swatova, Prahlad Maharaj says, some people are cursed in their human life, like Hiranyakashipu. Externally everything is there. But why they are cursed? Matirna Krishna. Their matir is not, their intelligence is not able to fathom the supreme truths, the absolute truth. By their own effort, or even when somebody else helps. Parato swatova. Some people say, leave me alone, I'll figure it myself. They cannot do it by themselves, they cannot do it by others. And such people, they fall into the deep dark existence, deep dark well of material existence. Means then the only desire in our life is material things. How will I become more and more stable, secure, more and more stable, secure? What a futile effort for something which is definitely being going to lost, get snatched away from our hands. Even when such a person is getting old and old and old, his desires just do not go away. His desires are just as fresh. Recently, I met my father who is about 70, he's 77 something. He has been one of the person who has given lot of impetus, the initial inspiration for my own spiritual life. And he has been reading so many philosophies in his life. So I just asked him that how do you feel about death? Do you feel you're ready? Because he's already of that age. He's very healthy, everything is fine. But we do have a lot of philosophic discussions with each other many times. So, because I was thinking at my age, I have a different sense of life and death now. So maybe he may have. I was just trying to ask him. 2 years ago, I had asked this same question to my grandfather, maternal grandfather, who is now no more. I had just asked him, very bedridden. I had met him and he was so happy amongst all his 20 odd grandchildren and another 15, 20 great-grandchildren. I am the odd man out as such. So never there for programs and functions, but arbitrarily if I am traveling the city, I would visit. So I was actually visiting after a very long time. I just asked him, how do you feel about life? So with me, he was speaking as if he's speaking to his friend. Otherwise, generally he would speak to a grandchild only, okay, give some money or clothes, you know how they do, feed them, make them. But I told, how do you feel about life? He did, I'm done. So I said, and no, not great disappointments as such, very accomplished person from where he started and where he was. Then I asked, do you feel like, how do you perceive leaving the body, because your wife, my grandmother, passed away couple of years before him. So how do you feel about that? He said, yeah, I'm done, but I don't want to die. That was enough. That problem was mine. I wanted to just learn how consciousness works. I was just thinking that. So I asked this same question to my father. How do you feel? People are dying at 70, 75. Anytime anything is happening. So how do you feel like? Do you feel closer to death as such? So, as a soul, how do you feel? I told my father, I don't want an answer from your intellect. Give me how you emotionally feel about it. He said, it's so interesting. I know I am of this age, but I feel just alive. It's not ready. 100 years तो जीना चाहिए. वो सुन के मैं डर गया. सेवा करने के हिसाब से नहीं. मुझे लगा इस संसार में रखा ही क्या अभी. जीने जैसा कुछ आनंद है, कुछ मुझे तो कुछ लगता नहीं ऐसे. Not in a negative way. About when we were young, life was still fuller, right? Things were more personal, very experientially. It was so rich. Now it becomes so dry within just a few moments. So then I asked him, "Aisa, what exactly will you do if you live 100 years. So he said, you should be ashamed telling these things to your father. I said, I don't wish that. मतलब थोड़ा ऐसा उन्होंने semi data, not like food. I said, no, I don't intend that way, but I want to ask, I want to know, as because you have been a philosopher, my first inspiration, I want to know. He said, actually no, I feel inside, age-wise is fine, but inside I feel young, as 100 years. मैंने क्या करेंगे क्या इधर AI वेआई सब आ रहा है किसी को कुछ लेना नहीं वो भी देख लेंगे. But I was just that Atma, it never thinks that it can die or it wants to die. The sense of wanting to be eternal is so ingrained, it just does not go. That means all the memories and things which you have, even though your wife is dying, your sons are dying. Dhritarashtra's case, 100 sons died, and he's blind from birth. He has not even seen how cute or wonderful my sons look. A blind person loses his 100 children, and still he does not give the desire to die. Of course, Vidur comes and makes that prompt, and that leads to a very spiritual discussion, and then he also liberates himself. So anyways, this prompt, when it came to Gajendra, he just remembered everything. So I would say in this month of Kartik, all of you should take a vow. Those of you who are not chanting should take a vow that every day I will at least chant one round. It takes 5 minutes, 7 minutes. Very simple. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Please do not underestimate the holy names. They may appear very ordinary because in India hearing bhajan, kirtan, it's a very common thing. And when they kuch to kar rahe. So these are not ordinary. So Prabhupada writes very nicely. In these verses, it is assured that even if a person engaged in devotional service falls down because of some small conditioning and mistake, he is not degraded, but he is placed in a position in which he will, in due course of time, remember the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As explained later, Gajendra was formerly King Indradumna, and somehow or the other in this life he became the king of elephants. Now Gajendra was in danger, and although he was in the body of other than that of a human being, he remembered the stotra which he had chanted in his previous life. So to enable one to achieve perfection, Krishna gives one chance to remember him again. What a beautiful thing, right? So it is imperative, therefore, all devotees should practice chanting some mantra. Certainly one should chant the Hare Krishna mantra, which is the Maha Mantra or the great mantra. And one should practice chanting Chintamani Prakara Sadmasu or the Narsimha Stotra. Every devotee should practice in order to chant some mantra perfectly, so that even though he may be in imperfect spiritual consciousness in this life, in his next life he will not forget Krishna consciousness. So in your next life, your wives, your husbands, your children, your karmic situations will drag you in some particular equation. What will remain is this. And the proof is, we have seen those who have lost their memories. Essentially, it's a new existence for them. They remember Jagannath, Radha Gopinath, and the Maha Mantra. That is so amazing. So King of Elephants, Gajendra, is praying. I pray to Om Namo Bhagavate Tasmaya Yat Echat Chidatmakam. One who is the original source, the bija of all creation. I pray to him. Why he is saying like this? Because His mentality was what? Some few moments ago, my wife, my children, and we think it is because of me. So Gajendra, when he realized, no, we do think because of me. But now I can see clearly that he is the bija, the origin of all. So philosophically we do understand that हाँ सब कुछ तो वहाँ से आ रहा है. But this is not a philosophical understanding. This is an emotional understanding which has brought all clarity. And then he says, I pray to that Supreme Lord who not only is the cause of the creation, but who is also unaffected by it. It's a very technical term. What is the sense of this word? In our own lives, we do little creations of us, right? When I came 15 years ago, that's what effort I put in my state farm. I came in an rented apartment. Now I had a home. Let's say you created it. You are not the beach of it. Because you are dependent on someone else, right, for your creation. You have not Gajendra says he is the independent creator. Meaning he does not need any support to create. Those of the people who say, I don't believe in God, all these creations are mine. To them we would say, okay, first you create earth element, first you create water, first you create ether, and then we'll talk about aeroplanes and cars and other things, right? हम बोलते ना ये घर मैंने बनाया, लकड़ी बनाया, मिट्टी बनाया, क्या बनाया क्या? You have been a good assembler of resources, assembling, compiling things, bringing here. And then you think you are... So this point, that he's an independent creator, it's a very beautiful point. Because he has gone through that pain. I was lording over this jungle, this forest, thinking that I have created every bit of it. I have brought joy to these small animals and my kids and everything. And then he said, he is also unaffected by it. Why? Because when we create even secondary or tertiary creations, ours is not a primary creation, right? Somebody else brought something and we did this. And still we get attached. Even though yours is not a primary creation, how much we get attached to our homes, our jobs. People share so much sentiment. When they leave the house, after locking everything, they'll just stand there. They have that feeling. And sometimes they have emotions. रोना आ जाता है कि जो भी है वही चीज़ जैसे घर में शादी होती पुराने ज़माने में, मेरी संपत्ति आपको सौंप रहे हैं. Especially when the daughter goes, the father says, it's that sense, na? I am the creator. I have made every bit. And fathers generally, for the daughters, they have an unreal kind of love. All mind and intelligence gets blocks for most of the father. And they want to raise their daughters with pampering them to the extreme extent, thus like a princess. That's generally a nature of father. And when she has to go, it's like, Meri amanat, so proud. It is a sense of that sense. This is what he's saying. I bow down to that person who is the primary creator, but yet he is independent, not attached to it. It's a mind-boggling realization that this person has an ability. He has been guiding me, staying with me throughout my so many lives, tolerating my nonsense, ignoring everything as Paramatma, and still he has stood by my side. Otherwise, how would I remember these words? And then he plucks, in the chaos of that, he plucks a lotus which is there in that pond, and from his trunk, he offers it to Vishnu. And what happens next, we'll hear tomorrow. ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय.